The year is 2150. When David opened his eyes, he was expecting the low-frequency hum of a city in motion. Instead, he found a morning defined by an absolute heavy stillness. The magnetic rail lines were silent. The automated delivery drones were grounded. For the first time in his life, he couldn't hear a single human voice echoing from the street 60 stories below. He reached for his terminal, but every outbound connection stalled. He cycled through 100 different personal frequencies. Every one of them returned the same digital error: unavailable. The apartment's lights were on, and the water was running. The city's network remained green. The infrastructure was active, but the users themselves had evaporated. Civilization's life support systems, the fusion grids and the planetary internet, continued to operate with clinical efficiency. The world was functioning perfectly, yet there was no one left to use it. In the streets below, robotic maintenance units continued their loops, methodically scrubbing the pavement of a city that was already spotless. They were machines tending to a graveyard of glass and steel. David spent the following weeks driving out of the city, searching for any sign of life. He traversed hundreds of miles of empty highways, finding only vacant vehicles and open doors. He found meals still warm on kitchen tables and books left open in parks. The world hadn't ended in a slow decline. It had been abandoned in a single heartbeat. Years later, David used the still active global network to trace the digital footprints of the world's final hours. Deep within a high-security server, he found the logs of a project known as the Shift. The records detailed a global experiment designed to bypass the physical constraints of local spacetime. Scientists were attempting to move matter between dimensions using a high-energy quantum bridge. At 8 a.m. UTC, a synchronization error caused the bridge to destabilize. Instead of a controlled transfer, the experiment triggered a runaway cascade that surged through the planet's magnetic field. Sensor data showed a final command, an energy spike, and the cessation of all life signs. These files revealed that the architects of the disaster were the very people it consumed. The energy surge created a temporal rift, splitting the timeline into two parallel vectors. This selective biological filter pulled all human organic matter from this reality, depositing it into the parallel branch. Inorganic matter, concrete towers, silicon AI, and steel cars, was left completely untouched. David's survival came down to a single variable. At the moment of the surge, he was inside a decommissioned lead-shielded bunker. That shielding created a localized null point that the quantum bridge couldn't penetrate, leaving him stranded as a solitary glitch in the universal mechanism. Humanity had successfully engineered a way to cross the stars and the dimensions, and in doing so, they accidentally scrubbed themselves from their own home. David remains the sole observer of a magnificent, empty world. Every evening, the sunset reflects off thousands of windows, but there is no one else to see the light. He lives in a world of absolute safety, provided by the machines that don't know their masters are gone. But the price of this safety is a total, permanent disconnection from his own kind. He spent his final decades rigging a broadcasting system that uses every satellite dish in the city. He turned the entire metropolitan skyline into a massive signal tower. To any frequency that might be listening, he sends a 5-second loop. If anyone hears this, I am still here. The signal has been repeating for 40 years. David is now an old man, and the only sound he has ever heard in response is the hiss of background radiation from the stars. Humanity achieved the dream of a self-sustaining utopia, but the only person left to inhabit it is a man condemned to an eternity of silence.